Don't you just hate when you're having a nice day playing Blox Fruits and then you just get destroyed by a brain-dead leopard spammer? Well, these are top 50 most hated things in Blox Fruits. And number 1, we got rolling a trash fruit. No one likes rolling a trash fruit. Bro, I hate when I hop on the game, go to roll from the Blox Fruit gacha, and all I get is a crappy chopped fruit. The second thing is brain-dead leopard spammers, just like I mentioned in the intro. No one likes them. The leopard fruit almost takes no skill to PvP, which is honestly why it's a pretty good choice. But don't you just hate when you die to them? All they have to do is just left click and they destroy the crap out of you. Next thing I got here is the Portal Fruits X ability. No one likes this ability. Don't you just hate when you're fighting somebody and they just use the ability and go completely invisible and then they just run away from you? That's honestly so annoying. The next thing here is not having enough fragments to awaken your ability. Don't you just hate when you finish a raid and you're like, yes, I'm gonna awaken the next move of my fruit. Then you realize you don't have enough fragments. Then you have to go grind some fragments and do the raid all over again. Damn, that's really annoying. But what the rich people do is just buy fragments. But not all of us can do that. Next thing is accidentally eating a fruit. I know this does not happen to a lot of people, but I've literally done this in the past. Honestly, super annoying. Imagine you don't have a permanent leopard fruit and you have the leopard fruit equipped and then you just eat like an ice fruit or something terrible. That's just the biggest loss ever. Next thing we got here is dying while AFK. No one likes to die while AFK, and the worst part is that sometimes you hide your character and you just wonder how people find you. You know what's worse than dying while AFK? Dying to NPCs, because then you have to walk all the way back to the NPCs and start fighting them again for the quest. Honestly, super annoying. Next thing I got here is probably one of the most annoying things in the whole game, and that is the Mirage Island not spawning. This is incredibly difficult to do, and it was way harder back in the day because you had to wait for a full moon to spawn. Thank God you don't have to do that anymore. Next thing is similar to dying while AFK, and that is your game crashing. Both are things you can't really control. Imagine you're mid PvP about to kill a person and your game literally just crashes. That counts as a loss. That's super annoying. Don't you just hate when you don't have enough space to store a fruit? I don't think a lot of people in the game have the extra storage game pass, but for the people that do, it's just annoying when you already have 2 or 3 of the same fruit and you want to store another one, but you just can't. Unless you buy the game pass again, but that isn't really recommended. Next thing is dying to bosses. No one likes dying to NPCs, let alone bosses, because for some bosses, by the time you get back to them, they're already regenerated to max health, and that's super annoying. Next thing here was annoying back in the day in Blox Fruits, but thank God it's fixed now, and that was PvP logging. Back in the day in Blox Fruits, when you used to fight against another player, they could literally just log out right before they died and it wouldn't count as a death or a win for you, which was super annoying. But luckily they fixed it now. The next thing is running out of double XP. Don't you just hate if you enter in a double XP code or buy it with Robux and you're just happily grinding and you forgot that the reason that you're leveling up so fast is because of your double XP, and when it runs out you feel like you level up like a turtle. Trust me, I know, I've been there. Next thing I got here is dying to lava, which shouldn't be a problem if you're a pro player and you got the magma fruit like me. Don't you just hate when you head to the fruit stocks and you just scroll through and you realize the Buddha fruit is not in stock and you repeat this several times and you never end up getting the Buddha fruit? The next thing won't affect a lot of people, but it really affected me when I tried to film a certain video. This is losing your mind after grinding for too long. If you sit at your computer for way too long and just grind Blox Fruits, at some point your brain is just going to give up from clicking left click and you're literally just going to lose your mind. You're going to start screaming and the effects get worse the longer you stay, so don't play Blox Fruits for too long at a time. The next thing is not getting a fruit from a factory raid. Everyone knows how the factory raid works. It's honestly a pretty easy raid and it's honestly a nice way to get your hands on some fruits. Getting a fruit from the factory raid is not 100% guaranteed, so if you complete the whole raid and you don't end up with a fruit, that's just super annoying and a big waste of time. Speaking about the factory raid, the next one that I got here is dying in a raid. This one is even more annoying because to start a raid you actually have to pay a butt ton of belly or 1 physical fruit, and that stuff isn't easy to do. Imagine doing a light raid trying to awaken your fruit and then right before it ends and you're on the final island of the raid and you just die. You lose all of your progress, you get nothing in return, you don't get to awaken your fruit, and you've lost a butt ton of cash. That's why when you do raids, make sure you have the Buddha fruit equipped in, so things like this won't happen to you. Next thing is honestly super annoying, and that is getting hit with the one-shot combo. As soon as you get hit with the first ability, it's wraps for you. There's no coming back from that. Next thing doesn't affect a lot of people, but it does affect me, and that is buying the wrong boat. Don't you just hate when you want to buy a certain type of boat and then you misclick the wrong button and you end up buying a really trashy boat or a boat that's really overpowered? Both ways are a loss because either you lose a lot of money or you waste a little bit of money. Money is still money, so make sure you're not wasting it. Don't you just hate when you check the Blox Fruit stock and all the fruits in stock are literally just trashed? Nothing worth buying. If you focus on a specific fruit, then it feels like it never comes in stock. Like imagine trying to get the Kitsune fruit. You're never getting your hands on that. It's barely in stock. Next thing is dying to water, and I don't think this should affect a lot of people unless you're super noob, because just get out of the water. What are you doing in there? Next thing is using a transformation ability by accident, and I have fallen victim to this so many times. You have to wait for the whole cooldown to transform back, and the reason this is a problem is because you actually can't be in a transformation when you equip a different fruit. That goes for from the shop or eating a physical fruit. It just doesn't work. Next thing is super annoying, and this is how people end up wasting a lot of fragments. It's not getting the right race on a reroll, and this doesn't just go for fragments, it also goes for people that spend Robux on it. I can't lie, I've spent Robux trying to get the right race multiple times, and I've ended up spending up to 500 Robux just to get the right race, and it's honestly not worth it. Next thing that everyone hates is people that cancel last second before a trade. Don't you just hate when you think you got a good trade in and then the person trading the fruit was literally just a troll the whole time and they just canceled last second? It's like they get your hopes up for literally nothing. Next thing is the ship raid not spawning. Don't you just hate when you drive around the water for hours waiting for ships to spawn in, but the only thing you end up getting is either the Mirage Island or Sea Beast, which are honestly really good in my opinion, but if you're looking specifically for the ship raid to get your hands on a fruit, then it's honestly really unlucky. Don't you just hate when you're trying to grind enemies in Blox fruits and you accidentally end up aggroing the wrong enemy, or even sometimes aggroing the boss? This could honestly not end well because half the time the enemies that you aggro are a lot more powerful than the ones you're meant to be fighting. When that happens, you're kind of cooked. At that point, just reset your character. You're done for. This next one is honestly one of the most annoying things that could happen to any Blox fruits player, and that is someone stealing your fruit. Imagine you join a lobby with your friend and then your friend's like, yo, I got a free fruit from a roll, and then they drop it to you and another player just comes out of nowhere, takes the fruit and dips. And the people that are really good at this are the ones that would use the portal fruit's X ability to steal the fruit, because then you can't even see them. They're completely invisible. Next thing is honestly not that big of a deal, but it's still pretty annoying, and that is choosing the wrong team when you enter the game. 99% of people watching are probably going to be choosing pirates, so if you slip your mouse and choose marines by accident, then you have to either leave the game and join back or find the NPC to switch team. I think it honestly might be faster to leave the game and join back. The next one isn't really a hated thing, it's kind of just a mistake that people make, and that is spawning a new boat in and losing the old one. Imagine you have a really overpowered boat that you just spawned in that cost a lot of money to do, and it's literally right there, and then your friend's like, yo, can I get that boat as well? And then you try to spawn the boat in and you realize you can only have one boat at a time, so the other one disappears and you just end up wasting a butt ton of cash. The next one is accepting the wrong quest and then trying to farm the NPCs, and you're so locked in on the farm you don't even realize that you equipped the wrong quest, so you just kill a butt ton of NPCs before you realize, and then you have to go re-equip the quest. It's super annoying and it's a huge waste of time. Next thing that people hate are dough spammers. No one likes a person that literally just spams the crap out of you with the awakened dough fruit. There's not many things you can do to counter it if you're a low level player. The next thing doesn't happen to a lot of people, but it actually happened to a friend of mine once, and that's game crashing before picking up a fruit. Imagine a fruit spawns in, you track it all the way down, you're super close to it, and then your game just ends up crashing and you don't get the fruit. This gets even worse if the fruit was a really good one. Imagine you see a kitsune fruit and your game just crashes. I'd probably smash my desk. The next thing everyone hates is people that are not subscribed to Hans Roblox, so make sure you go hit that subscribe button. The next thing is waiting for the dealer to restock. It takes a huge amount of time just for it to restock, and there's still no good fruits in stock. That's super annoying. The next thing that everyone hates but isn't really that big of a problem is abilities loading when you join the game. Everyone knows that as soon as you join the game, you can't actually use some abilities. There's a short cooldown on them, and this goes for all the transformation abilities because those usually have the longest cooldowns. Don't you just hate when you're farming bosses in the game trying to get a specific drop and you just never get that drop? No matter how many times you server hop or respawn that boss, you just never end up getting the drop. Next thing that no one likes is when sea beasts aren't spawning. You go into the water, you keep driving around, and you get no sea beasts. You get ship raids or something else. You just never end up getting a sea beast to fight. But then again, you might be in the first sea, so make sure you double check. Next thing no one likes is dying after leaving a safe zone. Don't you just hate when you walk out of a safe zone, then you just get hit with a one-shot combo? I've seen people in games that literally camp safe zones to hit people with one-shot combos as soon as they walk out. Those are the worst types of people. I mean, just let people play the game, man. Come on. Next thing is not having enough Robux for double XP. I know a lot of people don't have this problem, but for those of you that spend Robux on the game, then this will be a really annoying problem. Because I know a lot of you watching definitely spend your Robux on double XP. Next thing is super annoying, and that is your opponent TPing away with the portal fruit. Imagine you're just fighting a portal user and they just use the portal fruit's teleport ability and just get away to another island. That's super annoying and it's really hard to follow. The next thing is getting a bad fruit from the pirate raid. Imagine you do all that hard work, finally kill the last pirate, and you end up with like the rocket fruit or something terrible. Super annoying. Next thing is in general finding a bad fruit. No one likes rolling a bad fruit, no one likes finding a bad fruit on the floor, and no one likes getting a bad fruit from raids. It's one of the most hated things in the whole game. The next thing no one likes is when people try to fight you while you're grinding. You're just chilling, trying to get some quests done, and some PvP rager just comes out of nowhere and tries to destroy you, and then you have no choice but to fight back. But honestly, at that point, it might be better to join a new server. Next most hated thing is dying to a sea beast. No one likes dying to a sea beast, especially if you're trying to farm them for a bunch of money and fragments. You go through all that effort to spawn them, drive into the middle of the ocean with a boat, the sea beast finally spawns it, and you just die right before you kill it. That's gotta be super annoying. Next thing is players begging for fruit. You just join a server and you're just chilling in a safe zone trying to find people for trades, and you just have a bunch of bacon heads asking you for fruits. That can get really annoying really fast. Next thing I got here honestly affects a lot of people, especially when they first join the game, and that is forgetting to turn on hockey. Hockey has no cooldown, so you can literally have it on all the time, but I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten to turn it on and then realized, oh, that's the reason I'm not doing enough damage. But that's pretty much it for this list.